Mother's Day is around the corner, and if you're still up against the fence on what to give mom on that special day, look no further. Carla's Flowers, located right here in Colton, California, has you covered. Just take a look at this beautiful, beautiful bouquet. Man, this will definitely put a smile to mom's face on Mother's Day. So look no further. Carla's Flowers has you covered.
What's up, my Offbeat Podcast people? It's me, your host, Jorge Ambriz, and we have an awesome Mother's Day special. Yeah, this is if you're listening to this podcast, it's probably a little bit before Mother's Day, maybe, and just to kind of get everyone in that Mother's Day mode, and shout out to all the moms. Yeah, so shout out to all the moms, man. We wouldn't be here without you, literally. So, but today, I have an exciting episode. As you can see, I'm not on the camera. You hear my voice and you're like, where's Jorge? Well, my lovely wife. What's up, babe?
Hi, guys. I'm on the podcast again.
Yeah, so they kicked me out. No, I'm just kidding. No, they, we wanted to do something special today for today's podcast, and actually, this topic was actually inspired by a good friend, and I'm gonna go ahead. Let's introduce. Her name is Fanny Ybarra. What's up, Fanny?
Hi, thank you for having me. It's going to be an interesting podcast for sure, especially for Mother's Day coming up. I didn't think about that actually until you mentioned it. So.
Yeah,
perfect timing.
See,
perfect.
we do think about moms. We do think about moms. We do think about it. And so just to kind of some backstory, Fanny, we met back in like what was it, like 2017?
I don't know.
I think I went to Keenan.
It
was during the Keenan days. And I think I went to Keenan around 2017, if I'm not mistaken.
Then, I think you saw me in the time while I was pregnant with my second son.
Yeah, I think you were. Yeah, and so during that period, man, if anyone remembers, I'll probably even put some pictures. If there was any fluctuation in weight, it was her fault. It was her fault, guys. It was her fault.
Yeah.
Man, she would.
That's so right. That's right. You would tell me about the lunch a lot. She's always being fed. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was my goal, get everybody fed. They always say a person's always happy when you feed them, right?
Yeah, man. So she would bring. I remember you always brought the best stuff.
Oh, thank you.
You were our favorite vendor, like straight out. You would bring the portos.
Yes.
Yeah, she would always bring the portos, and man, I couldn't ever just have one.
Self-control.
There was no self-control there. Yeah, man. But yeah, we met, and honestly, like we kicked it off. We really kicked it off, and then I got to meet your husband, George. Shout out to George. Awesome manager. Probably the best manager I've ever had. Aww. I'm not just saying it just to say that, but he was like really cool, man. And so, and we've been able to keep in touch, through social media and things like that, just watching your family grow and stuff like that. And then it made me really happy when you came across the podcast, and then you messaged and commented. Yeah. And so this episode is actually inspired by Fanny.
Oh, thank you.
She was like, hey, what if we do one about working moms?
Yeah.
No, well, she didn't say we. She said, what if you do one about working moms? And I'm like, you know me, like I'm always challenging people. So I'm like, well, hey, like you're a working mom. Why don't you do it?
And here we are, right?
How'd you feel right away? Like though, straight out, like when I told you?
A little nervous, just because, I think the point of views of working moms is different personally and from what everybody sees, right? Mm-hmm. Perspectives are different. So it was a little nervous when you asked like, well, maybe we should do it. But, into talking with George and other moms and family who are moms, it was just like, no, you should do it, give your perspective. Right. And I think when you start to relate to a person and identify with some of the things that they go through on a day-to-day being a working mom, it makes people realize, I feel, that you are human and that no one is perfect. Right. No one's a perfect working mom. Yeah. Right. And that we could learn from each other, take tips or how can we help, things like that. So it was really nerve-wracking but exciting, and so I'm glad we're here and that we're doing this podcast on this topic.
Yeah. Anything you want to say?
No, I'm excited to talk about this topic as well. I think we have a lot of viewers that are moms, that are moms. And I've heard personally, like when we've had women on the Offbeat podcast, we get a lot of raving, good comments, good compliments about it. Okay. So I'm excited to see even like what people are going to grab from this. And we hope that this conversation will be able to teach someone something today, or just encourage somebody today, motivate someone in where you're at right now. Yeah. And so I'm excited.
Yeah, and it's so true. Like, it's crazy because, like our most viewed videos right now have been with the ones with women in it. Yeah, so, and we do have like a good audience of women that watch the podcast, so I'm excited. And I'm excited to hear you guys' perspective. And, my wife, if you guys know her or not, but why don't you kind of explain a little bit about what you do?
Okay. Well, right now, I am pretty much self-employed mom. I'm an entrepreneur, I guess you can say. I am a photographer. So I love taking photos of families, couples, just be able to capture, people's memories pretty much, So that's what I do. I'm many things, I guess you can say. I do a lot of things in the background for my work. I do work at home, and but I do everything on my computer. I am also a graphic designer, so if you need a graphic designer, a logo made, a business card made, hit me up. I like that. Perfect timing. What else do I do, babe?
Message.
I'm a bookkeeper. I'm just I do a lot of different things, and I'm actually in the process of doing another side business. So I can't wait to be able to share and be posting what that's gonna be. I'm not gonna share just yet because it's still in the process, and we're waiting for things to fall in place. Exactly. Yeah. But we're on the move.
But you're busy. You're a busy mama.
And I'm a busy mama because I have right now, we have 3 kids. There 2 are in elementary. We have a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old. I'm a soccer mom now. Soccer season's going on right now, and they're all in soccer. So we're busy right now with that. And I have a preschooler, so he's home most of the time, And
he needs to step it up and go full time to school now.
Right?
Yeah, he's a tough one to handle sometimes, but I love being a mom. I love being a mom. It's hard. It's a lot of work, but at the end of the day, when I get to sing my sons their sleeping song, their lullaby, and they want me there, I'm very grateful for it. See, I'm already crying.
Oh, no. I thought it was your allergies.
I know.
All right.
It's a blessing, it's a blessing to be, I believe it's a blessing to be a mom, but at the same time, because we do work and we have to get things done. I don't know. I've tried to be that stay-at-home mom that just focuses on the kids and focuses on the home, which I still do, but it's hard to not. I want to do other things.
Yeah.
I think I'm just a creative I'm a creative person that wants to just get my hands dirty in something. Yeah. And I've tried it, right? I've tried it, and I've gone to school, I went to school last year, university, but because being a working mom and that's 2 things, right? Working and being a mom, it was a lot for me.
Yeah.
It was a lot. Because not only that, as you can see, we're in a church, right? So I'm very involved in our church, so that's a 24-hour job too.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So it was just, I was drained. I saw it in me I was drained.
No, and I think every working mom is drained to the core sometimes. You know, we all have our good days, our bad days. Being a mom itself is a job. You know, it's people like to say it's a thankless job, but like you said, at the end of the day, when your kids want you there singing their lullaby or reading a book or tucking them in bed, you see their smiles, you hear the I love you mamas, the thank you, the I'm happy you're my mom, and it makes it so rewarding. You know, but it is challenging. And, you know, touching back on the working mom topic, just working in general as a female is challenging, let alone adding the mom on top of it. You know, it becomes even more challenging. And so I know you're a jack of different trades. You know, you're doing this hustle, that hustle. And, you know, in this time of day now, being what we call a modern mom, it's totally different from the traditional mom that, you know, maybe we saw our parents being, or our moms being, our grandmothers if they were workers. So it's changed. And I think a lot of it is also societal pressure on, you know, what the expectation is of what a working mom should be, right? Like you're expected to work like just a worker, and then you're expected to be a mom and just be a mom. And it's hard.
There's that pressure. And it's so funny because we had all those points down to want to be.
Put
every
well, why don't but even we got some good. I got some good questions for you guys, and you guys are. That's good.
Let me go into one of them.
Okay.
Which I think it's the whole traditional mom, working mom, the societal, right? So growing up, my mom was a stay-at-home mom. You know, she was a stay-at-home mom. And so it's funny that I'm just like thinking right now, like how my mom was, you know, which I love. My mom, she was a great stay-at-home mom. You know, she took care of us. When we came home from school, food was done, you know, ready for us. You know, house was always clean, you know, laundry was always done for us. Like I'm very grateful for my mom. She, you know, she spent time with us, you know, she was that mom that was there with us 24/7, you know.
Wow.
So, which was an honor, I believe, you know. It's an honor. But growing up and now having my own children, right, getting married, having my own children, and I said I was a stay-at-home mom. When we had our first child, I decided to not work. Okay. Because I was working when I got pregnant, I was working and I was going to school full time already. So, but when I found out I was pregnant and I was just seeing I was tired, right? Because when you're pregnant, the hormones,
you're building a baby,
exactly, you know, and going to work. We were working in Corona because we were kind of like in the same office area, not in the same job, but the office suites, you know? And I would just remember like, it was tiring. I would get nauseous driving to work, you know, driving back from work, you know? Pregnancy. So I remember telling him, I'm like, you know, I think I just want to focus on school and just this pregnancy, you know, just being a mom, you know, and we talked about it and he allowed it. You know, he said, yeah, that's fine. You know, do that. If that's what you feel like you need to do, then do that, you know, I'll take care of us. And which I did. So being in that, I did stay at home mom for a while. I was still going to school though. Okay. So, but once kind of going back into, being just their school and with the kids, I was just like, I don't know, I need something else, you know? And my mom was always like, no, you got to be with the kids. Well, who's going to watch the kid? Who's going to watch your baby? Yeah. Who's going to, you know, they start putting that pressure, you know? And it's like, yes, I know. I think we can do it. We can figure something out. But I don't know.
No, you're right. You know, and I think moms do that. So I had the opposite of a mom compared to yours. So as far as I remember, my mom always worked. It was very rare when we had weekday dinners where we all sat down because, you know, and my mother and my father came to America in their early 20s, late teens. My mom was 18 when she had me. So my brother came 3 years later, 2 years later, 3 years later. And so they were first generation. And for them, the goal coming here was work, regardless if your mom or dad were working, right? Because we want to make sure we give our children the best life possible that they didn't have. So in that aspect, my mom worked every day. I think at some point it was like Monday through Saturday. Sundays was her only day off. And, you know, did she have dinner ready for us? She did. She would wake up at the butt crack of dawn. You know, it'd be 4 o'clock in the morning and we could hear the blender going, you know, because she was making sure that by the time we came home, because she wouldn't be there, at least food was ready for us to just reheat. And, you know, and by that definition, I became kind of like the assistant manager mom, you know, because it's like, oh, you know, you got to go make sure your brother eats, your sister eats, go pick up your sister from the babysitter. So, you know, I always saw my mom working. So for me to have a friend that had a stay-at-home mom, I was like, wow, I wish my mom could do that. But I understood the circumstances that we were in and why she needed to work. And I think if it wasn't for that, I have 2 younger sisters, and I think as females, as women in, you know, growing up and, you know, starting to get married, starting families, becoming moms, the fact that she worked while she was a mom and we were growing up, for me personally, I'm having a pressure for being the stay-at-home mom, but the working mom, and like a good mixture of that, you know? And the pressure doesn't help either. Like, who's going to take care of the kids, you know? Who's going to take them to school? So in that aspect, sometimes I wish instead of pointing with what the issues are, it's like, help me with the solution, you know? Help me figure out how you can help, where I should get help, right? Because that relieves the pressure off of us.
And if I can kind of chime in a little bit, I love that perspective that both of you guys, because, you know, in one case, you know, like Jeanette, she comes from, you know, stay-at-home mom, 24/7 completely, and then you saw the other dynamic. And then I love what you're saying is that you know, it's easy to point like, okay, here's the problem, you know what I mean? Like, here's what you should do. But the thing is that like nobody, and I think that's where we lose the human factor is like that everyone's situation is different. You know, like there's people that have easy access to childcare, you know, like maybe they have close family, you know, or maybe they don't, maybe they do, you know, what different people's value systems are different too, right? You know, like there's people that value, like you said, you know, your parents came with a value in mind, with a goal in mind that says like, we're going to work our butt off to provide a better life for our kids, you know? And so I think knowing that factor, I think that we need to really be more compassionate, more empathetic, and being able to not quickly judge right away. Like, oh wait, why doesn't she just stay at home and take care of the kids? Or why does she work so much? Or why this? Or why does she only stay at home? And then like because there's also that judgmental part too of people like where it's like, wait, like, so you just stay home and like that's all you do?
No, right? Definitely far from that, right, Jeanette? I always like to joke with my husband. I said, you know what, I think it's also part of our culture, you know, being I don't know what's the correct term. Is it Hispanic, Latino? Like, I don't even know anymore, right?
Somos hispanos.
¿Verdad? La cultura mexicana.
Hey, the other day, just to kind of like joke a little bit, the other day, man, somebody put a video about that, and I put in the comment section, and it's gotten like, it was in another page, but they're talking about how like Chicano and this and that. And then I went on the comment section and say, yo soy mexicano y ya. Right? Like that, I'm a Mexican. Anyways, just wanted to chime in on that.
No, you just never know what to say. You just never know what to say anymore. You got to be careful how you say things, what you say. But, you know, back to going to the stay-at-home mom scenario, it's, you know, I've never been a stay-at-home mom. It has never been a thing where I said, the minute I have children, I want to be a stay-at-home mom. Because I saw my mom. And I've seen moms that were stay-at-homes and, you know, their family dynamic changed for whatever reason, whether it be financially, relationship, partnership, whatever. And I always had in my mind for me is that I could not afford mentally, financially, emotionally to be a stay-at-home mom. It has never been, and you could probably ask the same thing to my sisters, but it's just the way we saw our family dynamic at home, right? And so with my husband, you know, there is an age gap difference. You know, people don't believe that. They're like, wait, what? Sorry, honey, I'm going to say your birthday, you know, how old you are. But, you know, he just turned the big 50 a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, he looks young, dude.
Right?
Like, I never thought that.
He tricked me with his good skin and, you know, no, I'm just kidding.
Te enamoró antes de saber.
Oh, see, you know, when I was in it, I was like, wait, what? You're how old? And what? You have children? No. But, you know, there's that age gap. And so back to the cultura mexicana, you know, he has this mindset because he did come from a mom who was a stay-at-home mom, right? Dad provided financially. Mom made sure kids went to school, got fed, all that stuff.
Right.
That's not our family dynamic here, right? It's also because of, again, the age difference and just the times that we're in. It's totally different. It can't be 1950s anymore. You know, we joke and we say, yeah, in our house it's 1950s, but outside, you know, it's modern day today. And so I tell him, I said, you know, a stay-at-home mom is work. It's not just staying at home and, you know, watching Oprah all day or in Spanish, what was it, Cristina at the time? You know,
Las novelas.
You know, it's not that. And, you know, we are essentially the CEOs, CFOs, COOs of our household.
Mother's Day is around the corner, fellas. And if you're still up against the fence on what to get mom for Mother's Day, come with me to Chris the Tint Master. Nothing says I love you more than getting your mom's whip right. That's right. Especially right before this SoCal heat starts to come. Nobody enjoys driving down the highway or the freeway with the sun beaming through your tintless windows, burning that beautiful skin. Ladies, you deserve better. Get your whip right during this season and protect you, protect your skin, and all at the same time while your whip is looking fly. That's right. Visit Chris the Tint Master. He's located at 1090 5th Street, Unit 101A in Cali Mesa, California, or visit his website at www.christhetintmaster.com. Let's go.
Adding an actual out there in the world job, that's just added stress. But I think
That's
with the
facts.
right partnership and the right support system, you can not have it all because you will not have it all. And I think it's really naive and gullible to think that as a working mom, you can have it all. You can't. You can try. And
you're still balancing out time and your
Time
children
management,
and spending quality time with your children, your husband.
There's a lot of dynamics involved.
Lots of variables for sure.
Yeah, and I think that's why I'm so strong about having the human factor, you know, having the empathy, the sympathy factor, because every situation is different. You know, I just to kind of chime in a little bit, like I know, like I grew up in that dynamic of you know, both parents immigrated from Mexico. You know, they came for a better life. Dad, super hard worker. My mom, dude, like she was like hard worker. Like I saw my mom bust her butt, like, you know, and then they would always pretty much work opposite shifts, you know, like because for the childcare, you know,
right,
you know, so you know, but I looking back, because right now when you guys are talking about it, it just reminded me, my mom, most of her life, she worked. And then I remember when my sister came into the picture, big gap there. We're like 11, 12 years apart, me and my younger sister, Elva. When she came into the picture, like my mom she had a shift in perspective. She's like, well, you know what? Let me try the stay-at-home mom, you know? And it just kind of proves what you guys are saying, is that it's not for everyone, you know, because every family dynamic is different, you know, every partner, you know, the partner is different. Like, you know, like I'm sure you know, the way our marriage is different from how you and George are, right? Like it's just inevitable. It's something, you know, even the way our parents were, you know, but like, and I saw that in my mom where I really feel, I'm not saying that was the only factor, but I really feel like my mom, she had something in her that made her, she was like meant to be on the move. Like she was meant to be working. Like she was a great mom doing both things. Like and that's one thing that I would never, my brother and I will never take that away. Like my mom was like, she was the type that like, if she was going to go to work in the evenings or something, like she had everything ready.
Yeah.
House clean, comida hecha, like nomás prendanle la estufa.
Right.
And you guys got food right there. Like she was like so amazing in that, like, you know, and so she kept up and things that we had to do, like she would do her best to get us there.
Yeah.
But once she shifted, like it changed her world. Like I really feel like it like meant like mentally, like her mental health like really suffered, you know, and it kind of brought more like the negative out.
Yeah. Yeah. And it does, I agree with you on that. Because like my mom's same, it was in, I don't know, in her genetic makeup. That lady till this day, we try to sit her down and just watch a movie at home.
Yeah.
And it's like she's got ants in her pants. She's got like the anxiousness, like I need to do something. Like me sitting here doing this, nothing is not productive for me. So that's how my mom was, you know? And as far as like her job, what she did is early on, I limpiar hotel rooms, you know, and then that wasn't working out. So, okay, go work in a fábrica now, you know, in a warehouse, making balloons, packaging gift baskets, you know. And then after that, it's like, you know what, that's not working out either because of childcare issues, financial issues, you know, who's gonna take care of the kids? How are we gonna pay the bills? Let me find another outlet. So, you know, here we go into the, I almost want to say entrepreneurial side, self-employed, because that's what she is she started her, I guess, I don't want to call it a business, but she became her own boss in cleaning homes for the wealthy, right?
Wow.
And so I was exposed to those types of family dynamics of the working mom in that societal, economical, you know, difference compared to where we came from.
Right.
And it was different. Those working moms, I felt like they probably never had the stress that you and I have about like logistics in childcare, logistics in, you know, time management, all that. And so it was different. And, you know, again, I wasn't aspiring to be that kind of successful mom per se. I just wanted to make sure that I still continued my work ethic that my mom instilled, but also be a present parent because I can't say my mom was present most of the time. Like, yes, she made sure we had food. She made sure we had a roof over our head, shoes, clothing, the bare necessities, the essentials, right? But as far as like a relationship with mom, it almost a little bit was non-existent, you know, because we only had one day out of the week, which was Sundays. And Sundays were usually her day to catch up at home, you know, catch up with her mom that was back in the home country or the motherland. And we never got to build that relationship. But now that I'm a mom and I see her perspective, I don't hold grudges for her either as far as like not having that relationship, mom, daughter, or, you know, my sisters and her. I see it more as like survival instincts and just doing what you got to do. But now I think she's making up for that time and enjoying her grandkids, you know? I said, because the way she interacts with, and maybe your parents do the same or your moms do the same, they see your children and they're like, oh my gosh. And then you're like, where were you when I was little, right?
Where was that love?
So, this is a whole different mom. You know?
And it's funny that you say that because what was I going to say in regards to that is with moms. What was I going to say? Oh, because like with the whole... Okay, I lost my train of thinking. I'm sorry.
Which one is it? Is it the relationship with mom? Crickets, right?
Yeah.
No.
I think it was both, and even how, because you know my mom was the stay-at-home mom, right?
Right.
And I want to be a stay-at-home. Okay, this is where I was going with. Okay, now I remember.
Mom brain, right?
Sorry. Sorry.
It happens to all of us.
It does.
So you know, I'm the self-employed because you said that about the self-employed mom. You know, I'm entrepreneur. I do because I couldn't do an 8 to 5 job. That's what I was going with.
Okay.
You know, I couldn't be that working mom that did the 8 to 5 job. I tried it. I tried it, but because the fact that I wanted to be home with my kids, present, because I love that my mom was present.
Yeah.
You know, I remember a lot of memories with her being at home and just being in the kitchen with her, helping her clean, whatever it was, her teaching us
and
certain things.
she's like so good at it.
Yeah, you know,
Like your mom.
Oh, my mom.
Yeah, like she's like a natural.
Yes, seriously. Just she still does it this day. She cleans every day. I'm like, why are you cleaning? Your house is clean. No one lives with you.
Nobody's gonna come with the white glove, right?
Seriously, that's how she is.
Moms.
She's so funny. But you know, I was that type of working mom. Like I wanted to work. I wanted to do something to help financially our home. You know, because he was always he was always working. You know, the 7 to 5 job. You know. Thank God for schedules later on where they're starting to give 3-day weekends and stuff like that, you know, so that was nice to have now modern day, right?
Yeah.
But still, he was gone a lot, you know, and I was with the kids all the time, you know? So I just knew because of that, you know, I wanted to be home still. Have that flexibility, you know, to if my kids needed me to go to their school for an assembly, anything, whatever it was, I need to take them to a doctor's appointment. Like, it's not going to be hard for me to say, I can't go to Workin today. You know, I had the flexibility, you know? So I think that's where for me as a working mom, knowing I wanted to help financially, knowing that we wanted to build something for our home still, you know, is that that's where the whole entrepreneurial aspect, I think, in me came about too, you know? And I got that from my dad, you know? I feel like, you know, my dad is very business, entrepreneurial type of man as well, you know? So I think I got a little both of my parents.
That's so funny. No.
And I believe it's helped us. I hope he can say yes, it has, you know? And
like it
you know, and now, thank God, now we're able to actually be more home with our kids.
Yeah.
You know?
So what captures me about what you just said is the entrepreneurial mindset that your dad kind of helped you find and, you know, grow, because I felt like with our family dynamic and the goals that my parents had coming here as immigrants with nothing but, you know, the clothes on their back, their work ethic instilled to us was like, you know, you go to school, you get an education, and you just work hard. You work. Nowhere in there does it say like, oh, by the way, you know, you can also pursue a passion and turn it onto an entrepreneurial business that you love, like you do with your photography and your web designing, right? Nowhere in there, for me personally, did parents ever encourage you to pursue a passion, you know, and I do that with my 7-year-old right now. My 7-year-old is into dinosaurs. He loves, you know, science, history, all that stuff. And, you know, he says, Mom, when I grow up, I want to be a paleontologist. And I'm over here, you know, working mom, Googling paleontology jobs, you know, what is it? What does your future look like financially, right? Yeah, you know, salary? I mean, it's just, you know, do I encourage that passion? Yes, I do, because he loves it, right? But we also, from a working mom perspective, I kind of have to come back to reality and really kind of in his comprehension age, express and instill in him like, yes, I know you love your dinosaurs and it'll be great if you're a paleontologist, like, you know, curator jobs at museums or even grave digging sites. Sure, you can do that, but what kind of life do you want to live in the future? You know, because mommy and daddy aren't going to be here forever. And even though we're doing everything possible now to make sure that we set them up for, you know, not just success, because I guess everyone's definition of success is different, but with just the financial means where they can have the essentials, right? I mean, I'm not saying we're going to leave behind a legacy of like yachts and mansions and, you know, private jets, but as long as we instill that with them. And so I tell them, I said, you know, maybe you should look at something more logical, more realistic, right? But I'm not trying to take away that passion from him. So for you to say that, I totally think that your dad and your family are just amazing for, you know, letting you grow and develop that passion, that entrepreneurial side, because I feel like a lot of us just go straight into the work, and we just become these robots of working 8 to 5s, Monday through Fridays, you know? And to touch back on the flexibility of wanting to be present with your children and all that, I think that, through the pandemic, a lot
Yes.
of these jobs changed,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
It wasn't the Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 drive to the office and,
Right.
take your breaks. It became like a hybrid, work from home. And, there was a challenge in that because I feel, working moms, like, we get out of the house. We're not with our kids 24/7.
Yeah.
So now being home, working with our children,
Yeah.
I think I found myself on Zoom calls, apologizing in advance in case my children acted up, in the background. And, it was just like, it came out of habit. And then I started thinking, well, why are we always apologizing?
Right.
Why it can't, and it goes back to the human touch, the empathy, the relation, like, could you relate to me? And if you can't, can you just at least be empathetic about the
Right.
situation?
Yeah.
Don't judge, don't stereotype me.
It's true.
Yeah.
He says
And
that a
that's-
lot.
Yeah, and that's like, and kind of pausing on that a little bit. Do you feel that things have changed? Like, I know we're always talking about, like, even society and things like that. We're talking about how progress and things like that. But do you that you've been in the industry more, like the 8 to 5 and things like that, Fanny, do you feel that like it's gotten easier for working moms? Like for example,
Yeah.
like I remember like my mom was like very adamant, like, look, do not call my job unless it's an emergency, please. Like, she was always in that fear.
Right.
We're talking like this was 90s, in the 90s,
No cell
and
phones.
so yeah, no cell phones during that time, you know what I mean? So
Right.
and the only way to get a hold of mom during that time was like you had to call the work, and I know that back then that was like a big no. Like, my mom was like, she was always in that fear of like I don't want to lose my job, like, or
Right.
so unless it's an emergency, guys, please don't call,
Right.
So do you feel that with time though, like, has that become more flexible? Have things changed, or what are some of the struggles still that you kind of see in that?
Okay, so yeah, the modern working mom has many variables, right? One being, what kind of industry are you in?
Right.
What kind of job are you in? What are your responsibilities? What are your expectations? What are the expectations of you for that job,
Yeah.
right? And thankfully, I fell into an industry where my job wasn't really 9 to 5. Just because, in the marketing, business, sales, development area, your jobs are not 8 to 5.
Yeah.
I would have clients contacting me like at 7, 8 o'clock at night. And I'm just like, whoa, this is totally not 8 to 5. And you kind of adapt. And then your work ethic too, that's another variable. Are you the what kind of working mom that says, no, I'm 8 to 5. That's it. Don't bother me after 5. I'm done. I put my phone down. I personally am not like that. I don't want to say instant gratification or I'm a workaholic, but it's something about that work ethic that my mom instilled. Like, you have to do your job, whether it's after 5 or before. But, I think with COVID, a lot got flexed, and meaning people weren't contacting you anymore because they probably themselves had families at home, right? Children to take care of.
Right.
So it was more of, instead of picking up the phone and calling, it was more like, let me send an email, let me send a text. We're so connected now that it's making the modern working mom change and be more connected and in the know of things than in the 90s where, your mom said, don't call me unless it's an emergency,
Yeah.
right? Now, if Joaquin is in school and something happens, gosh, like social media platforms, the school's got, Facebook pages,
Right.
Instagrams, they
Right.
have,
Yes.
automated messages that go out, so you're in the know.
Right.
So I think though that companies have had to adapt to the pandemic and also to the reality that, the majority of the workforce is women now.
Yeah.
And moms at that fact, right?
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
have to be flexible. And, there have been studies that show that, there are more women in the workforce. There are not just women, but moms in the workforce. And those working moms are holding leadership, management, corporate level positions now. And they're still being moms. But in that instance, it goes back to priorities, your values, how present do you want to be as a mother, how present do you want to be as a worker, and, you know, touching on the working moms can have it all. No, you can't. That is just naive and gullible. You know, I think I came across a video of Shonda Rhimes. I don't know if you guys know who Shonda Rhimes is, the Grey's Anatomy lady.
Oh, yeah.
She was giving a commencement speech, I think, at a graduation. And she basically came out saying, like, you know, it'd be naive and gullible for moms or just women in general, working moms, to think that they can have it all. Because if you're excelling in one area, which is your professional world, you're definitely not excelling in the mom world, you know, just because you have, you could be writing a successful script for a next show and then you're missing your child's first swim meet or, you know, so you can't have it all. So I think as working moms now, we really have to get that engraved out of our brains that you cannot have it all. And if you have it all, let me know how you did achieve that because we all want to know that, right? Message me. But, you know, touching back onto the family dynamics of a working mom in the areas where my mom was cleaning homes for these people, it was different. It was different because I felt like those working moms don't necessarily relate to our pressures of childcare, logistics, time, financials, because they're financially set to be able to say, you know what is the average daycare nowadays? Like private daycare, like $200-$300 a week for one child,
the
right?
Average, no, $300 to $400.
That's probably like even
it's like $300 to $400 for daycare.
Income, like if you're
if you're low income, you're still looking at like $200 to $300 a week.
See, we were fortunate enough to have I didn't steal her. I just, you know, convinced her to come, you know, not work for us. I always hate that, the whole having somebody help you raise your children, because that's what they're doing. They're not just trying to keep them alive and feed them and make sure they don't get hurt, right? They're also helping you teach them and raise them. And so she came from a daycare and she worked with us up until maybe like about 2 weeks ago. And, you know, we're devastated because she was family. She is family. She will always be family to us, right? And even with that, you know, she also has a life, you know, so it was a lot of logistic coordination, time management that I think modern day working moms have to also work with on top of the working expectations, you know, your 9 to 5.
Because even being entrepreneur, like I go to my sessions, right? And then now even like with this new business project that I'm gonna be doing soon, like that's gonna take time too. So I'm already thinking, you know, who am I gonna have? Because it's gonna probably be, or it's gonna be needed of both of us. You know, and that's gonna be probably like weekends and stuff like that, you know? So I'm just already thinking, I'm like, okay, who can I get? Who can I have? Who can I trust to take care of my kids in these moments? Like I can't count on my parents all the time, which I love my parents because they do help me so
they do
much.
They're amazing.
You guys are amazing. I love you guys. I know I don't tell you all the time, but I
love you, Mom.
I'm so grateful for my parents because they love my kids. You know, they just love them to death, you know, and my mom has helped me so much in that area to help me with my kids, you know, but I know that because of their age, they get tired. They get tired easily, you know, so I know I don't want to put so much weight knowing that I'm going to get more work on me. I don't want to put more weight on them, you know, so I know like I'm already thinking that like, okay, who's going to help me with my children if we both can't be there or if they can't go with us. That is one thing now that my children are getting older. I'm already thinking like, you know what? I'm going to take them here and there with me so they can learn. They get work skill. You know, like my dad did that with us. Like he would, you know, I remember he would take my brothers, you know, or he would show us to do something, you know, or go try this, you know, go sell this to make this. Like I always say this to everybody, how I used to make money when I was a kid. I used to sell cupcakes around the block, you know, he would teach us, you know, and that's something that we're doing now, even with our kids, teaching them. My daughter, our daughter, she loves slime. Like she likes to make slime. Slime. Just so y'all know, she's going to be selling slime soon. You know, we're already
message her for slime.
BB Slimes, follow.
Promoting you already, Brielle.
Right,
you know, so we're excited for her, and we're already instilling those values, those morals, those business, those the ethics, the skills, right? No, is it ethics? No, it's not ethics. It's
business ethics.
Business, skills in them, like to want to learn, to want to like be able to fend for themselves, right?
Sure.
And but teaching them, along the side with us, even working.
Yeah.
It was really nice. My friend sent me, I haven't posted, I'm going to post them, but she sent me on Sunday some pictures of my son. So I had a photo shoot Saturday, and I ended up taking my boys with me and my friend went with me because I was going to take pictures of her for her birthday. But I was just like, he needed to finish something. So I wanted to be considerate, and just be helpful. I'm like, okay, boys, you want to go with me to my session? We're going to go to a trail.
See what mommy does for a living, right?
Yeah, I haven't really taken them. Whenever they do go, he's actually there with me. So they're with dad playing, So this time I took them with me, and my son, he wanted to try out the camera. He wanted, Mom, can I take pictures? Because I have 2 cameras.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, yeah, I'll let you take pictures, know? So I'll just like, but you be on the side of me or be behind me, follow my lead, which he wasn't really doing, but he's learning. It's his first time, but it was just sweet. He wanted to learn. He was even telling the clients, and thank God for those clients that they're just so sweet about it. They were laughing with us about it, that he was, whatever he was telling them to do. Oh, hey, do this, do that, and he was trying to make them laugh, it was really cute, and I was just, and so Sunday comes, or I don't know if it was that evening, but she sends me 3 pictures of him on the side of me. We're both with our camera, And I was just like, and I was a little frustrated with him that day because they weren't listening at the same time because I took my youngest. But I was just like, oh my God, it really touched my heart, because he sees mom, he wants to do something that like what mom does, and it's teaching him something, and in those pictures, I can send them, and then you can kind of post it when I'm saying this, is he's smiling. He's smiling. Happy. He's happy. He's right. On one of them, I'm looking at them smiling, and he's looking at me, like talking to them. I'm just like, oh my God, like Jeanette, like, okay, like, like that's an honor. I think the
frustrations you felt that day when you saw that picture were gone, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. No, that happens.
And it even does have though, like kind of, and those are like really cool things that I feel that time has really helped us with, like, I feel like those are some of the good changes, like that the changes that society has taken on, as far as like how viewing working moms, entrepreneur moms, a lot of that pressure is off. Because I know that even my wife, right, Jeanette, sometimes you have those moments where you have to maybe go take care of a responsibility, and then you do like, okay, like you guys have to stay, there's times, and I'm sure that's hard too, right?
Yeah, because I'm walking out the door. It happens a lot. They are mama boys. My boys are, because so our daughter, she's my stepdaughter.
Okay.
She loves to go with us. Like when I let them, she'll go with us. She'll go with me if I have to go do something. She does, but she's a daddy's girl. She, and she's just an introvert where she just loves to be home.
Yeah,
that's just her. But whenever if I say, hey, you guys want to go, she's down to go. She wasn't there that weekend, but when I took the boys, so that was, I'm pretty sure she would have gone too, though.
Yeah.
But there's been a lot of moments where I have to leave, because I have other responsibilities, especially here at the
Sneak
church.
out the back door.
I've done that before.
Oh my gosh.
I have done that before because I just don't want to hear them. Mommy, I want to go with you. Mommy, why? Yeah. Mommy, can you stay?
Or the
Mommy,
crying.
Yes, like it happens a lot.
Yeah. And I'm the one that's always telling her. I'm always telling her, like, I get mad sometimes because I'm like, I'm trying to be like the supportive dad and be like, I'm like, why do you do that? Like, go out the back, like go through the side. Like, why do you do that? And then you leave me with these crying kids.
Hey, you know what? We deal with the crying kids. Dad can deal with them for a day or a few hours.
Exactly.
All right.
But it breaks your heart. Like you want to take them, but because you want to get something done. Like,
right.
I need to just focus on this.
Right.
I'm sorry,
Again, time management, and having that partner to help you be a good mom and on top a working mom.
Yeah.
It goes hand in hand. You have to have a tribe. I always say you gotta have those friends, that family that are empathetic, that either if they relate or don't relate, they can help out, because it does take a toll, on your mental, your well-being. And I don't know about you, but sometimes I kind of get like guilt trips. I feel bad, where I'm taking some time to, oh, you know what? Crap, I look like Chewbacca right now. My eyebrows haven't been done in like over a month, know? And that happened to me this morning. I'm like, oh my God, I need to go get these things done. And it's like, okay.
The perks of being Mexican, huh?
Right? You actually have hair that grows and you got to remove it. So, like our typical day starts, wake up at 5:30, get yourself ready. And I think moms do this all the time. Like, even though dad's trying to help me, I like my way I do it. It has to be done this way. If you can't do it, just step aside. And, I'm working on that. I'm working on letting dad do it and get done his way. Doesn't have to be my way.
Yeah.
But that goes a long way, starts 6 o'clock. All right, boys, let's start getting up, and I give them 30 minutes to kind of get themselves together, get the little one ready for preschool. And I'm like, okay, husband, like, I'm going to take off with, Javier. We're going to go drop him for preschool, make sure Joaquin make his lunch, get him ready. He's basically ready by that time. Just take him on time. And, he does that. So that's help. That's an adjustment that we've had to do because of the logistics of where our kids go to school.
Yeah.
But, he could be another partner and say, no, you figure it out. Like, I don't care. I don't care if you work.
And
like, I work too,
And that does happen. Like, it's sad to say, but like, it does. Like, there is, I'll even though I'm here behind the mic, I don't want to try to make it seem like I'm perfect, but like I've even had pushbacks like that. Like I can admit, and I think that sometimes as men, as husbands, we can kind of forget. We can kind of forget like to be that support. We can forget to that man being full-time mom. Being full-time mom that works. Like it's tough. It's tough.
It is.
And the thing is, sometimes where I think the male, right, the husband, the dad, where they don't understand is that being a mother, it just comes naturally. We held our children in our womb.
Some mothers come naturally.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, I don't think all, not to be mean or anything, but some moms,
that's true.
Nature, right?
Yeah, that's true. And
not all moms.
Nature versus nurture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah.
So it depends on the person, right?
There
It depends on the mom, whether if you're a very nurturing mother or not, and for me, I think I was, because I had that in my life.
Yeah.
And that's very true. So yes, understandable. I'm sorry, guys.
No.
So, but I came from a very nurturing mom, so I think it just comes naturally to me to, like how you're saying, like, it's hard to let him take over something and you want him to do it and he doesn't do it like the way this fast in that minute and that within those 5 minutes. No, I'm telling you to help them do this now, but they think it's like an hour later.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no, it's hard, but because going back to me. I think I'm just like, no, this needs to get done. Like, they need it. And we always hear our kids are terrorists. They're so bossy, right? And they are, but I don't know. Like you just want to love on your children, I think. And because of the guilt, I think that we get sometimes, it just comes from there. I think it comes from the fact that, we're not always with them. The fact that they do go to school too.
Right.
That even being a entrepreneur and I am home and stuff like that, they go to school, so you don't see them. So once they're home, it's like you're happy, but then not happy at the same time.
Yeah.
But then you feel bad. So that's where the nurturing comes from, where you want to meet their need, you know? But at the same time, yes, there should be a boundary. There has to be a boundary. You got to know your balance with them. Yeah. Because then, they'll take advantage of you.
Yeah. No, and that goes back to like the working from home during the pandemic, the hybrid, the apologizing beforehand. You know, kids got smart. Kids are smart. Yeah. They're little manipulative terrorists. I call them my broke best friends or my broke roommates, you know? And
let's go here, let's go there. Yeah. You got money, bro?
Yeah. Like, just swipe your card. And I'm like, well, you know what? It needs to happen to have it money. And so we started talking about that.
And that's crazy that they know that stuff. They're like, I don't have cash. Yeah. You don't need cash. You never have cash. Where's your card?
Zelle.
Yeah. I didn't bring my wallet.
You can sell them.
You could do Apple Pay.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'm telling you.
Like her son has last year he did football, right?
Right.
And there's times where I didn't take my purse down. I didn't have cash on me. And ice cream man's now like they accept Zelle. So because we did it one time and they saw that, and when I didn't have the cash or the money the next day, they'll, Mom, they take Zelle. I'm like, but I don't want you to drink this right now. I don't want you to drink sugar right now. I don't want you to eat.
Yeah, no, kids are manipulative. And, you know, the working from home, it was just like, it got quiet. It would get quiet. And I'm like, oh, these kids are not up to no good. It's like our pantry was blown up. You know, like all of a sudden there's nothing there. Like, what happened to all the food I just bought yesterday? You know? And that affected your working day, even working from home, you know? And yes, you know, George, I think for the first year of the pandemic, he did not work from home. So it was just me and the kids. I felt like a stay-at-home mom plus working. It was mentally exhausting and draining. At the end of the day, when he would come home, I was like, oh my God, thank you, you're home. Like, can we just go get something to eat? He goes, well, why are we going to go get something to eat? Didn't you make anything? I'm like, yeah, you really want to go there right now? Like, let's get the kids in the car and let's go eat. Like, I need to get out, you know? And I think that had a big toll also on working moms on whether they decided to keep working or just become stay-at-home moms, you know? And not to quote Darwinism, but survival of the fittest, right? If you were mentally strong to continue that flexible work schedule as a working mom, more power to you. And if you couldn't, it was really, really disappointing and heartbreaking because there were no resources. I think, again, companies had to adjust to this new working norm for working moms, not just the whole workforce, but working moms. I feel like they forget about us sometimes, you know, like they forget that we're not just workers, like we're also mothers. And that transition from just being a woman to becoming a mom also gets like lost in there. Like, you know, now we have to adjust to being a mom. I think, I don't know about you as a father, but making that transition from just being happy-go-lucky Jorge to not being a dad and responsible for another life. I don't know how that transition happens or if you guys feel like you guys have support to help you in that transition. But, you know, back to the moms in that transition, you know, we have our mothers, but depending on the dynamic, you can become a nurturing mother or you can be a really detached mother. And my mom was emotionally, I want to say, detached to us. And so I didn't want to repeat that with my kids as a working mom, right? So I'm just thankful that, you know, the company I work for, the boss that I have, that allows this flexibility for me. You know, if I say, that's hey, awesome. You know, I lost my sitter now, like I can't work your typical 8 to 5. I'll work your 8 hours, but they're going to be like all over the place. And if you're cool with that, then we can continue this business partnership of me working for you, you know? So it's a lot of variables to a working mom of how to be a successful working mom. You can't have it all. You have to have your support system. You have to work for a company or a boss that understands and will support you too, because you ultimately need their support too.
And I'm pretty sure that's hard to find.
It's so hard.
It's hard to find because, and I think that's why too, a lot of women do part-time. They just go to the warehouse so that they can just kind of make their ends meet, and then they can have that time, right? With their, because I know a lot of people that do that, you know?
Yeah, the value systems have definitely changed. They definitely changed. I feel like our parents, like they did have that, which is a great work ethic. I mean, their ability to like, I think about my dad and my mom in the early years and like their ability to really put their heads down and work and really, you know, because I'm sure that, you know, like any parent, you know, I'm sure they, you know, of course, you're worried about your kids, you know, like I don't think, you know, depending, of course, you know, but for the most part, most parents, like they do worry about their children. They want to provide, but that's one thing that I'm like so fascinated with our like the older generation is that their ability was to just like, let's get this done. Like, let's get this done.
Yeah.
Like they were able to put emotions to the side. You know, our generation like now is the dynamic is a lot different, you know, and where we do look for opportunities and I think especially opportunities to like, man, you know what, like our goal might just be to make ends meet. And then after that, like we don't, you know, our goal isn't to be rich, you know, our goal isn't to be wealthy, you know, our goal is to, you know, we missed out on these nurturing factors, like, so we want to be able to put those back in.
Yeah.
Or even, you know, but I know that there's still a lot of moms out there that might still have those challenges of like, even in the modern day workplace. Cause like you said, like that factor is so true, like depending the industry, you know, there are industries that are very sympathetic, you know what I mean? And I think COVID did that to a lot of industries, like where it made them, because now dads were at home too, you know, like if there was a family dynamic where mom, dad were both at home and now kids were at home, like they felt it. And I noticed that a lot, where a lot of dads, like during Zoom calls, you know, managers that had kids and they were the same way. And I think that really pushed that empathy mode in them and say, man, you know what, I can't, if I have a mom in my team that has to leave because her child is sick, like I'm going to look at things a lot different. I think that one space though, like the industrial space though, I think they still have a lot of challenges, you know, like,
for sure.
especially for like working moms. I think I sympathize a lot for them because I know that in those type where it's production, you know, I think there's still a lot of jobs out there where it's like production mode. And we see that a lot here in the IE.
Yeah.
The IE is like warehouse, you know, you know, it's like warehouse here, every corner, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that they still face a lot of those challenges where like, you got to produce. And if you're not producing, you know, California is at will, you know, so like, boom, like if, you're not producing, like you got to go.
Right.
And I think that's still, it's a challenge.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
No, it like we both said, you know, it's in the industry that you're a working mom in, and the values of the company, how they treat their employees, specifically their working moms. You know, we see all these jokes on social media platforms, you know, the memes about like, you know, maybe I should have a kid because all the working moms get to go home early. It's like, well, do you even know why I'm leaving work early? Like, it's not because I want to. I mean, sometimes maybe I do, but you know, it's because we got like doctor's appointments, we got parent teacher conference. Like we're clocking out of our paid job to go to our mom job. And most women who don't have kids will not understand until they have them. That's truth. Because I used to be one of those women, right? Like, oh, what do you mean it's so hard? Like, why can't you just get away for an hour after work? Like, you know, come join me and, you know, for a happy hour or whatever. And it's like, now I understand, you know, and it's just, it's hard. It's really challenging for working mom out there, modern day. But luckily for social media, connectivity, cell phones, we're always in the know.
Yeah.
I'm big on communication. My husband will tell you this. Like, I'll give him a schedule. Like, I'll tell him the day before, this is what's going on today. Tell me why 5 minutes before. He's like, what's going on today? Like, you know, and mind you, when it comes to his job, though, I'm sorry, honey, but when it comes to his job, nothing gets by him. Like, he knows all his schedules. He knows what he's got to do. But when it comes to kids, and I think that's part of, like, I don't want to say my fault or my bad, but that's just the way that I decided to run my household. Like, you know, I won't interrupt him. I want to take it all on myself. But there's times where, and I'm pretty sure you can relate, where you just feel overwhelmed.
Yeah,
delegate tasks.
When he was he was working, I did, like, I was that way. Like, I would just take care of everything, right? So coming back into whether if it was, because I did a couple of jobs. I remember I used to work for the school district, trying to get back into the workforce, right? But again, it just wasn't for me. So going to now more in deeper with being self-employed, entrepreneur, finding jobs, right? But I still have that way, now that he's home more, I still have the way of thinking of like, okay, how do I I'm trying to delegate things, but then too, I feel like he just still doesn't capture it. You know, he doesn't get it because
Guilty.
he's still in that like, well, I gotta work mode type thing. You know, but I'm just like, but I'm working too at home right here next to you.
Yeah, and I think that and that is like, I'll admit, I think that's that's one of our, I don't want to say selfish modes that we get into. But I do think, like, for me, let me speak for me. I think I am very dependent on my wife. Yeah. Like, I really am. Like, I am.
Nothing wrong with saying that,
I'll
for all those men out
there. I'll admit it, man. Like, I am so dependent on her. Like, where, we both share a schedule. We do these things, you know what I mean? And we try to organize ourselves. But at the end of the day, like, it is easier for me to, like, well, you know what? Like, I can't take care of this. And if I can't take care of it, like, then it's kind of like automatically, well, you take care of it.
But it's not communicated.
But it's,
exactly.
It's not like how, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get you. Like, Tuesday's trash day and, you see the trash can flipping over. Like, do I need to take it? Do I need to tell you to take it out? Or can you just take it out?
So funny that you say that because no one took out the trash cans this week.
I know, man. I was like, Abe, I mean, I remember, but we're like already on our way to drop off Judah, I think, yesterday, right? And I was like, I saw the trash cans.
Our coffee.
Oh.
Yeah, something. And we're like, and I was like, I saw the trash cans on the block. I'm like, oh. And she's like, what?
It's trash.
Nothing. And then she's like, well, it's because you said like, oh. And I'm like, all right, I'll admit it. I'll be like, it's because I forgot to take the trash cans out.
Yeah. No, and I think that's also, again, family dynamic, like setting roles, a schedule. Like you can't always say like, oh, it's a trash. The man has to take it out. No, like if I see it's overflowing, I'm going to take it out,
Yeah. I love that. Go ahead. You wanted to say something?
Yeah, it's a good point that you say that it's the roles. And I think sometimes for mothers, stay-at-home moms, and probably even like entrepreneur moms, like, and with maybe the husband either doing the business with them, or even like they're probably working. I think that's hard nowadays. Like it's figuring out sometimes our roles. Because I know for us, I'm gonna be honest, like I get that way just because like what he was transparent about. Yeah, is finding our role. Like because he was always the 7 to 5, type of job, but now being home, right? Like this past year and a half, which he was working at home, but then also he ended up, something happened where he decided to end up, of course, being home now and, making our decision to go, we went to full-time ministry, which was here, and so those decisions were being made, but still figuring out the role. I think for him was, I think that's, even to this day, we're still
challenging, huh?
Yeah, we're still trying to figure that out. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't, like, it's the communication,
right?
Between husband and wife or just your partner. Is, I think we got to figure out our roles so that moms, we don't feel overwhelmed. Right. We don't feel pressured. We don't feel like we have to do it all. Because I feel like, I think we like how me and you say, like, we're so used to doing it all. Like we want that control. Yeah. But even ourselves, so that we need that time of rest. Yeah. We need to delegate. We need to like let go of certain things and hopefully our husbands can understand, our partners can understand, like, can you take care of this? Right. And maybe some of our homes need to state what those things are and not be afraid to state them. Right. I mean, I don't know. What do you think about that?
No, I think you're right. I think, again, the working mom of modern day today has changed the roles at home too within a partnership, right? Whether it's mom, dad, or mom, dad, right? It's changed. And I think part of it has to do with us as mothers, because of our culture or our upbringing, we tend to think that, we do have to take it all. We have to do it ourselves because our mom did that, our grandma did that. But little do we forget that, they were probably stay-at-home moms or they've never worked. So we can't take it on all at once like that, like they used to. And we really need that communication and that support from our partner to say, you know what, today's Monday, she cooked dinner yesterday, let me cook dinner today. Yeah. But again, communication, yes. Me telling you, reminding you, like, hey, I cooked yesterday. Today's your turn to cook. That's not really but I know we can't read each other's minds, but it's all in how you say it, what you say, that relationship dynamic. But, it is true. We can't have it all. We got to lose a little control. We got to change it.
Right.
Change is good. Sometimes change is good.
Yeah, because even being a stay-at-home mom, I can imagine you can't have it all, right?
No.
Because you can't. Sometimes it's going to be hard to take your time to do something for yourself. Because the fact that you're just
feeling guilt.
Yeah, exactly. Like let's say you want to go on your like spa day, or I don't know, go out with your girlfriends. But then again, it's hard because you're so used to being at home too. You're so used to being in charge at home.
Yeah.
How is it gonna look now when I'm gone? I mean, of course, there's times where let's let loose. Like let's forget about it. Like I'm pretty sure all moms have felt that way. Like, I'm not gonna worry. I'm not gonna worry. I need to do
Dishes
this.
will wash themselves tomorrow.
Exactly. We all give up at one point.
Yeah.
You know.
And it's good to have those times of days, you know, and not feel bad. And hopefully your partner is okay with it, because to be honest, that's what happens in our household. Sometimes I've had. Because of my job, we have conferences and I'm gone maybe like 2 days out of the week, and I'm trusting my husband that he'll feed my kids, right? Keep them alive, which he does. He does a really good job. But during those 2 days that I'm gone, the anxiety, the mental stress that I'm putting on myself because I'm worried that things are not running the way I'm used to running out, right?
Yeah.
We need to step away from that too. I feel like we need to stop doing that to ourselves. So it's live and learn, let them also be a parent role, not just depend on the mom all the time.
Right.
And like you said, your son going to those photo shoots with you and seeing what you do for a living, I think I've had the opportunity to do that with my son also, the older one. And he's like, well, Mom, why do you work? All working moms, for whatever reason that they may be working moms, doesn't change the fact that they're still moms at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
And whether they work because they need to or they just want to, I mean, I don't know who wants to work, but, whether you're a mom or not.
Yeah.
But, the fact that you're out there, it's for a lot of different reasons, and family dynamics, variables, priorities,
Right.
Morals, family dynamics, is to each is their own stories. And, like George said, we got to bring back the empathy, the human factor into it, and just be more easy with not judging, not stereotyping, people because of their situation or why they're doing the things that they're doing as a working mom or whatever. But, it's the challenges that we face nowadays,
No, I love that. I love that conversation you guys are having about, what's our role? What's this, and recently I was listening to a podcast, and it was on Tim Ross. It's called The Basement. And he was talking, I think it was a question about like gender roles, and it was him and his wife, and they were talking, and he was like, I love what he said. He's like, you know what? We don't have them. Like, we don't have like what are our roles, like as far as like our homes, like, is it, like, cause usually, the woman, like she has to do this because she's the woman, or the man, the man has to do this. I feel like we've evolved so much where like, the man is the man, you know what I mean? But it's okay to take on different responsibilities too. Sure. Like being okay, like me for like dishes, I hate. I'll be honest. It's not even about like because it like I'm manly or this. Like I just hate dishes. I don't know why. I
Fold
hate
the laundry. Right? Put it away.
But there are things I like. If we have to, it really does come down to understanding your own family dynamic. Sure. And not being pressured to like, because I think that sometimes kind of going back to. Because society can even try to, or friends, or trying to keep up with the Jonases and all this and all these different factors, the people we associate with, sometimes we can kind of like be pressured into like no like
that's
family family
Yeah.
so and so does it like that, like well, that's good for the Rogers, you know what I mean, like hey, we're the we're the Ybarras or we're the Ambrizes, and this is our dynamic, and I think that that's always we always have to understand that, like, and be sensitive to that. And I feel like instead of being like, okay, what's your role? It's more like, hey, we're a team.
Yeah. No,
You know, like,
sure.
what's our role? Like, hey, I'm a team member. You know, like, when it comes down to things, like, yeah, we're husband and wife, but at the end of the day, like, we're on the same team.
Right.
You know, and then so if it's if he got to preschool, how he got to preschool, don't worry about it. He got to preschool. Like, it's
You
a
better
W.
not put him on the motorcycle,
It's a
husband.
W. Like, why is his hair like that? Don't trip.
You know
Like,
what?
Yeah.
Let's talk about that real
Yeah.
quick. I want to point that out because it's so funny. Like, you always see, like, you know, when dad dresses up the kids
Yes.
compared to what mom dresses.
Yeah.
They're always a mess.
Yeah.
They're wearing different colors. Their hair is messy. They're not
Oh
wearing.
my gosh, yeah. No sense of style or
And it's
organization.
I'm like, well, don't you have style? Like, you know what I
Right?
mean? Like, what do you want?
Would
your
you
kids-
show up to work like that? Would you do
I
your hair
know,
that way?
I know.
No.
It happens. But yeah, like, I really like that perspective, and yeah, you know, it's about finding our, you know, and I think that that's really important to, like, even, you know, I think that could even be some tips. I don't know what you guys think, is like for relationships that are maybe dating, that are getting to know each other, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, you know, and they're looking to that partner of, you know, for potential marriage. I think those are, like, good questions, right? To find out, to, like, know, like, you know, because
Yeah.
you could be like, it could be black and white, where they're, you know, one day they're like, oh, cool, and then the next moment, once you guys have kids, it's like, you know, wait, like, changes, you know what I mean? So I don't know, you guys want to kind of even share a little bit about that?
I mean, you know, when George and I were dating, I was young. I was not looking to get married, not looking to have children. And I said, you know what, George, done this, done that. You've been married, you have kids. Like, we're going to do this. And, you know, I'm not going to have to worry about ever being a mom, right? Because at that time, his children were already old. And I mean, like, they were teens. They were already becoming young men. And, you know, they're always going to have their mom. You know, I'm not trying to step into a role of being their mom. I'm just here as an extra support if you feel like you can never talk to anybody else, right? So, but one of the questions was like, do you want to get married? Do you want to have kids? If you do, like, what are the things, schooling, upbringing, discipline, you know, are we doing church every Saturday? Are we doing, you know, those things that you grew up with? We want to pass it on to this new generation, right? And at that point, it was like so far-fetched. I was like, no kids. And here we are, married, 2 kids, 3 horses, basically, you know, totally opposite from what we said we weren't going to do. But, you know, I think I can speak for him also on this. I don't think we would change it. Like, we'd love our kids sometimes.
It's all of us.
You know, and it's okay to say those things. You know, I find it interesting when I come across some moms that are stay-at-home moms and they're like, oh, how could you say that? Like, no, you know.
I just did.
Like, doesn't mean I don't love my kids, you know, doesn't mean like, oh, I want to work all the time and not see my kids, you know. It's a good balance. Like we said before, you know, I wanted to be a working mom. I think that I didn't think I was going to be a boy mom, but here we are. But even if I was a girl mom, you know, I would want to instill that independence to my daughters if I ever had them, to show them what a working mom looks like. Different from what my mom was, right? Instilling the nurturing part, like, you know, we're going to have a relationship. We're not just going to, I'm going to make sure you have food, water, and, you know, treat you like a pet. But that's what I want to show my boys now. Like, listen, you know, when you get to that age, your mom works. So if you ever come across a relationship or you want to start a family, you know, women do have the right to work. You know, and if they want to, great. And if they don't want to, and you're okay with that, that's fine too. And I think working mom in modern day is changing a lot of the family dynamics and roles. So it's a lot of living and learning, and there's no perfect way. No one's perfect. No perfect marriage, no perfect mom. But, you know, just be patient, have that support. I think not being so hard on yourself is also what's going to help you, I think, be a successful working mom, partner in any relationship you have in life, whether it's work, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a partnership, a marriage. So I think those are a lot of really key points that should be talked about engaging in a long-term relationship. But it doesn't happen, and all you can do is live and learn. Adapt.
And I think that's really good that you pointed out that you guys talked about what it's going to look like, you know, because I think sometimes, I don't know, I would think like people are afraid to really say what the future might look like. You know, whatever it is, doubt, fear, whatever it is, or they're anxious about that to even talk about that subject.
Or maybe they had a bad upbringing.
Yeah, or maybe, exactly. Maybe they have a bad upbringing. They don't want to really like say, they can't say how it's going to be because they just don't know.
Yeah.
But I think the communication is really good, that as long as you guys can align something up, because you guys aligned that, like you guys agreed on that first, but it changed, but then you guys agreed on that,
Right.
you know, because you guys were able to agree the first time, you guys are able to agree on the second time,
Yeah.
because you guys just saw like, no, we're not meant to be alone type thing. I don't know, whatever it was. Or the fact that you just probably got pregnant, you're like, okay, yeah, well then we're just ready for this. Let's do this, you know, but it's because there was already an agreement in the beginning.
Right.
You guys were okay with that. But when this happened, this changed, because there was just something, you know, that I think the communication already was there. The togetherness was already there. That was over here too.
Yeah.
You know, with the changes happening, with everything occurring, like you guys were able to just, okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Again, back to the communication, the ability to adapt, you know. I think I'm pretty adaptable. Sometimes I get my, you know, anxious, like, the kids are wearing the wrong clothes today, you know, but, you know, there's just, again, priorities, the way you want your family dynamic to be. If you're a working mom, then, you know, that support from your partner's there, and gender roles tend to be, you know, delegated differently. The expectations are not there because, again, coming from the culture that we come, our upbringing, that kind of affects the way you run your household and you want your household to be, right? And your dynamics. So if you're trying to change some of those things, you know, the other, your partner kind of has to be in support of you to allow those different changes because, you know, my husband, his mom didn't work, right? She was a stay-at-home mom for like ever. Dad provided. Was that what I was looking for, a husband or a future father of my children? I mean, I personally didn't want to be a stay-at-home mom. If he could provide, great. If I had the opportunity, the ability to not work and just be with my kids, that's great too. But that's not what I wanted, right? I wanted to be a working mom. And he was okay with that. And, you know, we talked about it like, hey, listen, I can't be like your mom used to be, right?
It's funny that you say that because a lot of our culture, where we come from, right, Hispanics, I feel like there's always, I've heard many people say it, like the husband, because of the fact that they've seen their mother not work or whatever, their grandmother, whoever raised them, right? The fact that they didn't work, because they take care of them, right? They want the same for their wives. They want their wives to do the same. And you know what? That's changed completely. You know, and if you have, I'm sorry, but if you put that much of, now if your wife doesn't want to work, then of course,
right.
But if your wife has the desire to want to pursue something of whether if it's a passion, whether if it's just want to go work, I really don't think you should stop them, you know, because you're holding them back from something now.
Right.
You know?
I totally agree with you. And, you know, I have two younger sisters, obviously different personalities, but the one thing that we do have in common is we're workers. We're workers because of what my mom taught us, what our dad taught us. And, you know, being a woman in just society in general, you know, back in the day, it was illegal for women to work, you know, they could get fired from their job just for being married. You know, those were intense, really weird times.
It's crazy.
Good thing we're not there. But you know, the younger sister is, you know, she's been in a relationship for almost 6 years. And one of her things was like, I want to be a stay-at-home mom. I'm like, really? Like, why? And I'm, you know, conflicted, like, why? Like, we grew up with the same parents, right? Like, why? But you know, to each their own. If that's what she wants, great. Talk to my other sister, and you know, she's sorry, Janet, you're like 30.
We're the same age.
Yeah, there you go. And you know, she's like debating. She doesn't know if she wants kids. Does she want? One day she's yes, one day she's not. You know, it's a big responsibility to just choose overnight because you're gonna be a mom forever.
Yes.
Forever.
Yeah.
Not just for the first 18 years of their lives. You're a mom forever.
For the rest of their lives.
Yeah. So, I think their relationships, their gender roles, the way they're working women in society is different from us, different from their parents, but their significant others don't have that perception or that expectation that, look, my mom took care of me all this time. Like, I'm expecting that from you.
Yeah.
If you want to work, great, figure it out. I still want you to be like if you were a stay-at-home mom. That's where the problem starts.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. That's a red flag already.
For sure.
The expectations, I think, leading with or not being clear about expectations.
Right.
I think that's a huge thing. And
because I think that would also cause later on resentment, in the relationship, that's gonna totally cause resentment. You want to, let's say the wife, the partner, right? Yeah. She wants to do something, but being told that, and then listening to it later on, you're gonna you probably will resent him for that. So that's already going to be a red flag for you in the beginning of that relationship.
I totally agree with you. And, I've talked to family that have been stay-at-home moms and, for a brief period of time for X, Y, and Z reason. And, I said, hey, give me a pro about you being a stay-at-home mom. And she goes, well, the pro is that I get to be with my kids, pick them up, drop them off. The con is that I don't feel independent. I don't feel like I am me, like I'm always mom, and I empathize with that because I can't imagine being lost in the mom role for, X amount of years. And later you become these empty nesters and then you kind of lose yourself because you've just been a mom and that's it. You don't have any other thing that defines you other than you're a mom, right? So, and then she's like, but the con is that, and then, they started listing the cons like about being a working mom, which was like, having to make sure that the kids are ready for school on time, dinner, laundry, house clean, this and that. Nowhere on there did I see a pro that said, my partner helps me. My partner supports me. My partner helps me with our children, not my kids, with our children, right? Yeah. And it was really sad to see that. But then again, the industry, the level of education that they had, where they grew up, their upbringing. And then I asked another set of friends what they deemed pro and cons of being a working mom. And, these other friends are, I always hate saying college educated, but just educated. They have jobs where financially they're able to afford these expensive ass daycares. Sorry ass, and they don't really need to rely on family to coordinate logistics of picking up, drop off, who cares for them this day while I'm doing this, So again, what job, what industry, how does your job treat working moms? Those are big things that I think as a either future mom to be or new mom should look for in the workforce if you want to be a working mom and ensure that you have that support from your partner and have a network, a tribe of similar minded, people that could help you out, tips, and it's hard and it's harder now because I feel like everyone's so all about me, or my, and I'm just going to mind my own business. But, at the end of the day, you do need that support. And if you have to let other people in to make sure that you're here, okay, and everybody's okay, you have to do that. We have to stop trying to close ourselves off.
Because later, and, you're, once you got children, you're married, right? I'm a true believer in this. Like what you said, our children are only with us for a certain amount of time.
They're borrowed.
Exactly. They're going to be, by the time, whether if it is 18 or a little older, but sooner or later, they're going to leave out of the nest. They're going to have their own families.
Right.
So the most important thing is that you have that quality time with your partner. Yeah. Kind of going into that real quick. Yeah. That you as a wife, knowing that you're a mother and everything, but you as a wife have your quality time with your partner, with your husband. Yeah. Because by the time they're gone, like how you said, like you're just
you and your
so,
partner.
yeah, you're just you and your partner, but then you're just stuck with the role of just being a mom or even being a working mom, you know, that you've done that so many years now. But now with the kids out of the house, maybe then that's going to cause even friction. It can in your marriage, not knowing how to communicate with your husband or how to be alone with your husband, you know? So I was actually just listening to a podcast this morning too. And, and they kind of talked about that because there was a question like, how do you balance motherhood? You know, how do you balance, your marriage,
question.
you know? And, you know, like, and knowing even when you have infants, you know, and I remember she said like, you know, by the time our first baby was 1 month, we took a 48-hour vacation, like a little getaway.
Reconnect.
Exactly, that there's always a connection between, you know, husband and wife.
There
you
has
know?
to be.
Because then later on, again, there can come bitterness, there can come resentment that you never did this for me, that you didn't do this with me, you never spend time with me, you're always just at work, I'm always with the kids. Like there's gonna be all these blaming happening, and that's not gonna go anywhere good. You know,
and those same things become even harder as a working mom, I feel, because now they're also throwing, well, you're the one who wants to work, or you know, you're working too. And like I said, you know, every working mom can have the reason of why they want to be a working mom or why they need to be. You know, most of us work because we have to, living in awesome California, you know, it's a 2-income household. Either mom and dad work one job each, or dad works 2 jobs. And then again, resentment, you're always at home with the kids, right? So how about we just do 1-on-1, communicate, talk to each other and say, listen, I know I work. I know the role of a mom or a spouse is X, Y, and Z, but those things need to change in order for us to be successful as a partner, relationship, be successful as parents, and just be successful as individuals. Because at the end of the day, you know, he has his passions of, you know, his horses. I'm still trying to figure out what the hell my passion is right now, you know, because I work, I manage my household, my kids, right? So, you know, recently I got to just pick up the piano again. I'm like, okay, let's practice this. Let's figure it out, you know? But we also forget that we're also our own person, and we decide to be in these relationships with friends, family, children, partners. And we just got to be able to manage that and have that support in the communication, because without the communication, you can't have the support, right? So, but I think, it's really tough being that working mom nowadays.
And I feel like the common theme here, like what you guys are talking about, is really the ability to be flexible.
Flexibility.
Yeah, like flexibility. I don't know if that's a trait, a characteristic, personality, or just like a good value to have, but flexibility. I think that as like the husband wife dynamic, the family dynamic, I think that's what it's really comes down to, is like, man, being willing to be flexible, you know, because I love the way you share your story that, hey, this was the idea in the beginning, right? And then with time it changed, but you guys were able to be flexible with it, you know? And I think that that's so, that's like a good thing to look for, like, you know, in your partner, like, is he flexible? Like, is he able to take, you know, like, are they able to like you said, and I know what you're trying to say when you say, like, I don't like to say like college educated, but because I get what you're trying to say is that it's true. Like when you train yourself to be educated, when you do have an educated mind, you know, you are open to new perspectives, you know, you really are. And, you know, the roles are able to change, you know, the dynamic is able to change, because you're not just thinking from a one side point of view, or like, this is how we've always done it. This is how I've always done it. This is what I've always seen. So this is how it has to be. I'm the man of the house. This is how it's supposed to go. But no, like, you know, being able to be like, okay, you know, that's all right. We didn't plan that, but that's what you want to do. Okay. You know what I mean? Being willing to be that support system for your partner, and be like, okay, yeah, you know what? I know when she said, like, you know, I think I want to just stay home, you know, finish my pregnancy, stay home, go to school. It wasn't like, you know, I knew financially what it was going to possibly do. But I'm like, you know what though? Like, what is more important though? Is money really important, or su bienestar, like her well-being? And not just that, but like what she's, learning, in school and everything. Like that's, at the end, like that's always going to pay off in the long haul.
Sure.
And sometimes like I think we have to be willing to give up, sometimes, working moms and even in partners and things like that with husbands, wife, we have to be willing to give up instant gratification per se, because we want like, hey, but the results, we have to be willing to be like, okay, that might not look like, maybe that's not what it looks like right now, but okay, let's be flexible. Let's go with it. Let's flow with it. Let's roll with it, and let's see what happens. You know what I mean? But let's be that team. Let's be that support system.
Kind of like going into a finish because we're coming low in time.
I know, man. Yeah, it's been good.
Right,
It's been good conversation.
Yeah.
Look, and she's like, didn't know. I don't know what I'm gonna say.
I know.
Oh man,
It's
good.
Again, back to the being careful what to say and what not to say.
This is good.
Yeah. No, but kind of going, and then maybe ending with this conversation, because this conversation could go on too.
Forever.
I know I would like to talk and kind of get your perspective, because there's a lot of families out there that are in the same shoes as we are. We are both blended families. What is that blended family dynamic? How did you get, or how did, oh, oops, sorry. How is your blended family? Like, how is that right now?
So our blended family has always been well, and I think that has a lot to do with the way that his sons were raised also. Like I said, I came into the picture when I think the youngest was 12 going on 13. The oldest was like 20 going on 21. So for me, it wasn't like, again, I was coming in a step as like a mother figure or take care of children, right? Whereas if he had told me, hey, I have like a 3-year-old and like a 1-year-old, I would have been like, whoa, I am so not ready to do that right now. And that probably would have taken us different ways. But the blended family aspect, I mean, they're grown men. So for me, it's a little different. Whereas I think my main concern when I had my first son with my husband was, I hope his children don't feel like dad's not going to be present anymore, because now he has like a new family, right? So that was my anxiety level when I was pregnant with my son and when he was born. But they were really, really, I don't want to call them kids because they're not kids. They're grown men, they're 22, 23 and like 30 now. So they're men, right? Yeah. But they're really good with my kids. They love their brothers, as weird as that may sound, but because of the age gap, but they love their brothers. My kids love them. They know that that's their brothers, even though they look like they could be their dads. They always say, when's my brother coming? So, we've always had a really good relationship, family dynamic of being a blended family. Mom, I mean, I really didn't deal with mom too much, and I think it was because of the fact that they were grown kids. I think we would have seen more of mom if kids were younger. But, I mean, doesn't mean I'm never going to see her. And they're just really great men. They've grown up to be very respectful. They've always been respectful. They've never said like, oh, we don't, try to treat me badly in the sense of being disrespectful early on. None of that. And I think that had a lot to do with, again, the parenting dynamic between their mom and my husband, and just initially instilling respect, respect for others. So I've never had to struggle on that aspect, although I've heard of families that are blended that did struggle with that because, the baby mama drama or the baby daddy drama, or, the kids aren't being respectful, or, they always guilt trip the biological parent because, oh, you're not with my mom anymore, and then you as a parent start getting the guilt trip. So, I mean, that never happened for me. And I don't expect to know or imagine or feel or relate, because I wouldn't. I try my best to be human, empathize. And, if you need help, let me know if you need help. But, the blended family, it's never been a big variable in our relationship or, in our family where we had to worry about somebody not liking somebody or not, meeting for the holidays because, he can't be at the same table as myself or whatever. No, it's never been an issue with us.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and that's really good. And because we wanted to bring in that question because like we know that as working moms and then still having all these variables and then
on
plus
that
one on top, it's like just another worry of, and I think what you spoke so well is that, just, you've been fortunate to have a good experience, but you're still conscious that like, hey, like, and I think that's one of the things that, I don't know if you want to kind of speak into that before we chime in a little bit more on that, but.
Well, how are you going to chime in about what were you going to say? I'm curious.
I was just going to,
what's your blended family experience, I guess?
Yeah. Well, so ours is different, you know. I actually help him raise his daughter.
Okay.
His daughter was couple of months old, right?
Oh, wow.
When I came into the picture.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she kind of like grew up knowing me. Well, she was saying Mama Jeanette, but then once my son came into the picture, that's where she started calling me mom. So that's where she started calling me mom. So that was really nice, because she saw like, this is mom, this is mom, and I really think we've grown. I feel like our relationship has grown. It was hard, it was hard because, I know like in the beginning, he didn't have the greatest communication. Things weren't that great between the mom, her mom and stuff like that. So that's where a lot of us, we did get a little bit of that, obstacles that we had to jump over. Now that she's older, she's 10 years old now. And I think where we're at now, we're in a much better place, For sure. I think just like I said, I really don't have communication with her mom. He does pretty much all of that. I think what I've been doing recently these past couple of years more, especially now that she's getting older and stuff like that, is just getting to know her, getting to know her, who she is, because it's hard I think with her, it's been a little harder because she's a very introvert, and she doesn't talk much. Yeah, doesn't talk much. It's hard for her to express herself,
Gotcha.
But I feel like, lately I've been giving more of that, like, no, you got to express yourself. It's okay to express yourself. Tell me what you're really feeling, thinking, and just kind of giving her that space, and I feel like because of those changes, I feel like we do have a better relationship, and it's funny, like even, the time where I was home a lot, and he was working, like even her, like she would come to me for everything. It wasn't just my boys, but it was even her. Like, ask for the littlest things to ask for. Like, oh, can you help me with this? Can I get this? Can I do that?
Awesome.
She wouldn't really even go to him because he wasn't really there. He was
you
working.
You were her person.
I was the person at that time. Like, oh, I have to ask mom because mom knows if I can do that. Because then he too, like, go ask mom. I don't know. Like so. In the beginning, it was hard. It was really hard, but I believe, we got through it. I think with us communicating, one thing I do appreciate about my husband though, like the season of learning and growing, and because we got into many arguments about it, but I think what I do appreciate most about my husband doing, and because this can be vice versa to anybody, because it can be either blended families is like whoever's the step parent, right?
Yeah.
But I think I feel like more with women, when it comes down to women being the step parent, like, and the father being, the biological father, what I really appreciated that my husband did is that he actually allowed me to take like that place. That mom role. Again, I didn't, same as you, like I never tried to push that, like for her to tell me mom, like I never pushed her to do that. That all of a sudden came on her own. Like how I said, like by the time my son came into the picture, she just started calling mom on her own. And that just stuck. it just stuck. She never went back to really. She would, cause before that she would call me Jeanette, Mama Jeanette, with my name in it. And then after my son kind of came into the picture, just mommy, And I think he allowed me to take that role of just like being that woman, that mom model there in our home.
In your home.
In our home, And I think that's what allowed, again, I'm not the perfect person, I had my struggles of being in the blended family, and how I felt even, the difficulties of even like how he's gonna feel, how she's gonna feel when our son arrived in the picture, because she was younger, so all of that, a lot of those emotions and dealing with that, and really caring for each and every one the same, Of course, like you don't, because in a way each child has their own personality, so you even just love them differently. Because even with my little one, I love them differently than when I think the way I love my older one, like
that's fact.
So they're still different, but I do appreciate that, because not a lot of people do that. That's why I feel like the blended family has a lot of tension. There's can be a lot of tension, because either the mom is just really controlling and she does everything for her daughters and doesn't allow the husband to have a say, and when they want to start saying, hey, like, why don't you let them do this, or why don't you let them do that, or why don't you let them try to do this, or I don't think you should do that with them, like, or don't, I don't know, whatever it can be.
Differences, but kudos to you for stepping into that role, because like I mentioned, I don't think I would have been able to, at least not at that point or period in my time of age. But same goes back to the fathers. My mother-in-law, after 20 years of marriage, failed. Luckily, there was another man that came into the picture, and by definition, that's my husband's stepdad. When I met my husband, I would have never known that was a stepdad, because it was dad. This is my dad. This is my dad. And, his biological father did pass away. Of course, he was sad. But I'm already feeling that if his stepdad passes, it's totally different, because that was his dad figure at home. And for him, that's his dad. With his kids, like I said, there's a big age gap. I mean, I think I'm only like 6 years older than his older son. So it was a little strange in the very beginning, because I felt like, shit, like he could be my friend, like we go to the bars together. And, how do you set an example of being like a good partner for his dad, but at the same time, not making it weird for them? So that was the struggles that I struggled with the fact that, the sons were older, but they were much closer in age to me. Maybe it was just a me thing, but with the younger one, like I said, he was 12 going on 13. And I think he was like 15 going on 16 when our Joaquin was born. And my thought right then when that happened was, crap, his 15-year-old is going to think that like now dad's not going to be in the picture, because prior to our marriage, his parents were split up, I think when he was like 6 or 7 years old or something like that. So he was already coming from like a quote unquote broken family per se. But, again, I didn't come to be a mom or take away their mom figure. I'm here more as a support. Like, hey, if you don't feel comfortable asking your mom or your dad, like I'm here too. If you ever land in jail, call me, like I'll come get you, if you feel like your mom and dad won't. But I'm also there to be a person of like, you need to show me respect. I'll show you respect. If you need advice or guidance, like I'm there too. I mean, I may not be that much older or wise than one of you, but we could still make this work. And, I've met their mom, not to the point where I can say I know her, but she's been pleasant. I think I'm less uncomfortable than my husband is with it, but that's another topic for him. But the blended family, it works well. I've had a good experience. I haven't had to deal with, the baby mama drama or the baby daddy drama. Talk to other friends that come with the blended family with young children like you experience with your daughter. nightmares. And I think because of those stories, I always told myself, never, ever put yourself in that situation. I did, but luckily, the kids were grown kind of. But, touching back on your daughter though, like seeing you as a working mom though, and an entrepreneur mom now, not your typical 9 to 5, does she like talk to you about it whenever she does talk to you? Like, do you think she notices those things from you? Because I feel like my kid does. He goes, Mom, you're going to work today? Like, why do you have to go to work today? Like, my so-and-so friend's mom doesn't work. Like, they go here, they go there. I'm like, that's nice. Like,
well, they do ask me, like, she'll ask me, like, more, like, what are you going to do today? Or are you going to the office today? Well, because right now, before I would come to the office a lot.
Right.
But I'm more at home, so I was just like, no, I'm gonna be at home, working home, I have some things to do, or we're gonna do the podcast. So she kind of does ask us, and then even with our schedules changing, that he doesn't go to work, like she's like, oh, she'll even say like, what do you guys even do? Like, you guys don't even work. Like, like it's like, yes, we do work, but we work from home now. Like the way, because our schedules have completely changed
for sure
within this last year and a half,
and
it's changed for us because again, like I was the one always home, but he's home now. He's so much present with the kids. I feel like even he's with probably more with them sometimes,
Stay at home dad.
Yeah, there you go. Nothing wrong with that.
This is gonna be the next episode.
Stay at home dad. I know if we were making millions as working moms to afford to have stay at home dads, like would they really do it though? Like would they? Like what kind of problems would arise from that?
I know. I know. That's funny. Have you guys seen there's memes? Have you guys seen those videos? Those memes where it's like if millionaire so and so would ask you to be a stay-at-home mom, and you'd get like so much, like a week or something.
Yeah.
And then it flips like the video, and it's like they're cooking, they're cleaning.
They're vacuuming.
Like, sign me up.
There's a really good show on Netflix. I don't know if you watch it. It's called Working Moms.
I think I've heard of it, but no, I don't think I have yet.
It's a good show. It's I think it's from Canada or something, but when I first started watching it, is because another working mom in our industry was like, hey, have you watched this? Like, you should watch it. Like, it's totally relatable because, they show moms in different areas, like not just a working mom, but like a stay-at-home mom, the mom who works but really doesn't care about her kid, and then the other moms that are two moms. So I like the show. I would say, like, go watch it if you're a working mom. See if you can relate to a character. It's hilarious, but they do touch on a lot of the topics that we talked about today, where you're like, holy crap, like people are hearing these and showing them in videos or shows. Like, it's out there. I just think people need to be more socially acceptable that, working moms are here. They're going to stay. They're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, 100%.
And we just have to adjust and adapt. And if family values or dynamics change, they have to change because, not to sound, disrespectful, but at the end of the day, women don't really need a partner to be a mom, in the sense where some moms, like we said, we take it all on. We just need a tribe. We need a support system.
Right.
Biologically speaking, yes, we need males. But as far as like being a parent and raising a child, we can still do it. Maybe there's things that I might be missing, especially if you're a boy mom, that male character. But if you have a support group where there are male figures that you could think that would be good influences on your son, then why even worry about being married or being with a partner who doesn't support you,
Right.
So at the end of the day, working moms are here no matter what kind of family dynamic you're in. And, if you're listening to all this and you're a child, love your mama, because, they're not here forever. And they're doing everything that they want to do to help you and, be happy. And ultimately, life is life, working moms.
Yeah, 100%. What about you, babe? Any last words of before we come to a close? Any last words that you want to offer to some entrepreneur mamas out there?
It's a big word.
It's a tongue twister, right? I know. I mean, if you have a passion and you can pursue and you have that support, go for it. Just I would say go for it. Make the time for it, you know, and if you want to be a stay-at-home mom, be a stay-at-home mom. Do it. Do it with all your heart, you know? But again, I do want to go back to the most important thing is, if you are married, is that your marriage has to be your first priority, though.
For sure.
It has to be your first priority, because your children are not always going to be there. So please always make time for you and your spouse to have that quality time, you know, because yes, we love being a mother. We love being mothers. We are nurturing. Some of us are not, but just have to put that in there, you know? Yeah. But then again, we are married. If you are married, you're married.
Yeah.
And if you want that to last, then that should be your first priority. And then secondary, your children, you know, just love on them, you know, support them too. I would say, because the fact that depending on where you came from, if you come from a background that has trauma, maybe no one taught you. Yeah. I think that something should fire in you and change, where you want to give something back to your children.
For sure.
Let your mind shift, you know, change your perspective, you know, because you don't have to be the same as your parents were, you know, and it's not that our parents they did the best that they can. My parents did the best that they can, you know. There are certain things that I wish my parents could have done better, but you know what? They did the best that they can, and I'm grateful for what they've done. But me, because how I want to teach my children, what the values I have for my children, what I want them to grow up and learn, and what I want them to be exposed with and not exposed to, then that's going to be on me. Yeah. That's going to be on me as their mother, and of course their father. That's going to be on us, you know, so being more aware in that too. Because I know for a while I wasn't aware, you know, of those things. I was, but I wasn't working on those things. I wasn't like gearing myself to like better my skills in those things and how to teach my children. So I would say, if you're not thinking about that, again, change your perspective and think about those things. Because again, you want to prepare your children for this world. You want them to be prepared when it's time for them to leave the nest.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. And so, I want to thank you, Fanny, once again. Thank you so much for being one more round of applause. Yeah. Round of applause for Jeanette. Yeah. No, thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you guys for agreeing. Thank you so much for agreeing to this. This is so good. So many good nuggets. And I even kind of want to put it in there. You know, I know that both women on our show today, you know, they're coming from the family dynamic where they're married, and, you know, and they have their partners, and that's, you know, we don't want all the single moms out there. We don't want you to think that we don't think about you, or you're forgotten. If anything, man, like, kudos and props.
Yes, for sure.
Kudos and props to all the moms out there that, you know, for whatever reason, you know, that you're doing it on your own. And so much love, so much respect, you know what I mean, for all you women, because I know that a lot, it's not even a choice, you know, for them. You know, it's like they have to grind and worry about their household at the same time. So kudos to you guys, props to you guys. We love you guys. We think about you guys as well. And but man, so much good nuggets, so much good nuggets on this episode, and I'm so grateful. You know, we're so grateful, and we have to continue to you know, if you're in the work industry, if you're, you know, don't forget, man, that if, you know, maybe your coworker, maybe your boss or something, maybe they're that working mom, or maybe you're working with an entrepreneur, you're getting serviced by an entrepreneur, and don't forget that, man, they're human.
Yes.
You know, they are human.
Ultimately,
they are people. And I think sometimes we can forget that. We can forget that.
For sure.
You know, sometimes we can look at like, why isn't she doing this, or why isn't she doing it? We have to be able to empathize and sympathize with them, understand that, man, it's not just the work dynamic for them. You know, they have a whole nother job back home, you know, and that job is like never ending.
No.
It's never ending. And so much love. Happy Mother's Day
Yes,
to
that's
all
what I
the
was gonna say.
moms.
Happy Mother's
Happy
Day.
Mother's
Mother's
Day.
Day.
Yeah, happy Mother's Day, guys, to all the moms out there. We thank you guys so much. Shout out to my mom as well. I know she's gonna listen to this. I love you, Mom, and you know, all the moms out there.
Yes.
You know, celebrate, go out to eat. If nobody wants to take you out, you go.
Yeah, treat yourself. You know?
Treat yourself. And so, but thank you guys so much for tuning in. This was Offbeat Podcast. Let's go.